Good morning from the ranch. We've got a pretty busy day ahead of us today. We're going to grind some hay, and today is a long day, so we've got cows to feed on corn stalks. So it's going to pretty much fill up the day by the time we get net wrap off of bales and do some other things. Our day will pretty much be exhausted. Right now I got up early this morning and had my first cup of tea, and I'm trying to work on some laundry and get caught up on my house. I've started decluttering the basement. And yesterday I also started on my office. So I always have 2 or 3 projects going at the same time. Drives my family crazy, but that's just how I work. That's how I've always worked. And today on UPS, my cabinet for my bathroom should be coming, so then I'm going to get to tear the bathroom apart too. I feel like a pregnant mama who is nesting as I'm getting ready for calving season this year. And it's kind of driving me a little bit crazy because I don't always have the energy to get through the whole day once I've started something. So I'm trying to rate myself just a little bit, but it doesn't always work because mornings I usually have more energy, and afternoon I kind of take a nap, and then I get fired back up about 3 o'clock, and then we go out and do chores, and then my day is pretty much exhausted by the time I fix supper and get things done. Here's the first pile of laundry I get to work on this morning. I hate socks. I just hate them. You can never get them paired up. And they're all the same. I mean, they are white sock, red letters. You'd think they'd be the same, but they are not. Those are the same style sock, but obviously you can see they are not the same. I can never find the mates. So I laid all of his socks out. I paired them all up, and then I numbered them. And he's pretty much worn those socks out. There's one here, number 12. There's number 12. See? There's a pair. And everybody likes their socks different. He likes his folded. I roll mine. The kids, theirs don't even match anymore. When we were first married, I didn't understand why he wanted them folded. It drove me crazy because why can't I just roll them? Makes sense to me now. The tops get stretched out. They fall down your leg. That would drive me crazy too. For whatever reason, my socks don't do that. I don't know. Must be a man sock thing. They stretch out and then they fall down. So now I just make sure that his socks are folded and not rolled. But I still struggle, even with the kids' socks, to make sure that they're mated. And now that the kids kind of do their own laundry, I get such a kick out of them because my girls wear unpaired socks. They might wear a blue sock and a green sock. And maybe that's the style. I don't know. I guess my feet are too particular. I have to have matching socks. Anyway, this is a job I'm going to tackle right now. Then I've got to get ready to go outside. And it's cold today. Again, I think it's maybe 10 degrees right now. It was 7 when I got up. So it's still cold and the wind's kind of blowing, and we might even get some snow today. I don't know. Winter just wears on you, and I'll be glad when spring gets here. The other day when I picked up my beef magazine, I was thumbing through it and I found this article. Watch out for plastic disease. So that was kind of interesting because Jess and I had just been talking about putting a video together about whether or not you should or shouldn't take the net wrap off your bales before you grind. We always take the net wrap off if we're going to roll a bale out, and we make sure we clean it up. Several years ago, we ran into some issues when we were feeding soybean stubble. We lost some cows, and we couldn't determine if it was the bean stubble or if it was because at that time we were not taking net wrap off before we ground our bales. And I cut a couple of those cows open after they had died, and after I read the article in the Beef Magazine, it got me wondering, what are they saying these days? Because the article quoted Dr. Cody Creelman, which he's a YouTuber, veterinarian out of Canada. If you're not familiar with him, he has excellent videos. You should check him out. He was the veterinarian that they were using in that article, and the information that he has gathered about whether or not you should or shouldn't take net wrap off of bales. Now, after we had troubles years ago, we started taking the net wrap off. We've tried some different ways to get the net wrap off the bales, the most efficient ways, and right now it seems to be that you set the bale up on end and you walk around 3 times and you get all the net wrap off. It takes about 30 seconds to get the net wrap off the bale. It really doesn't take that much more time, especially when you're thinking about the price of a cow and what she costs to keep in the herd, and if you lose one, what it costs to replace her. At this point, we're trying to take the net wrap off of all of our bales before we grind. People had told us, well, we don't cut ours off. They'll just, if they ingest any, they'll poop it out. Well, I don't know that that's necessarily true. South Dakota State University was part of a study, and they determined that net wrap will actually stay in the rumen for up to 14 days. One of the challenges that we ran into when we were feeding bean stubble is I think it slowed those cows' digestive system down enough that they weren't actually processing those little bits of net wrap that they actually got. It doesn't always pass through, especially if the feed that you're feeding is not efficient enough to pass on through them and keep their gut moving. One of the challenges that we're dealing with right now, and don't really have a solution for, is that we still have to leave the net wrap on our straw bales when we grind them. Straw is just different. It's harder to keep baled, and it's slicker, and you have to compact it so hard to get it to stay in the bale, to get it started in the baler. Then when you take that net wrap off, it just kind of goes everywhere. It sheds off the bale, and then you're left with this pile of mess. When we hire the hay grinder to come in here, he's charging between $300 and $400 an hour, and he can grind a bale about every 45 seconds. It takes everything Jess has got to get bales to the grinder and keep the flow moving so that we're not wasting more money in time that the grinder is sitting here waiting for us to get a bale. Right now, as far as time efficiency, we're just not able to take the net wrap off those straw bales, and we have to just take a chance that the screen is small enough on the grinder that it's cutting that net wrap into fine enough particles that it will pass through the cows. It's not my preference, it's not Jess's preference that we do it that way, but right now, until we can find a better way to not waste the straw and leave piles of straw everywhere that we'd have to clean up and waste more time for the hay grinder. At this point, our feed rations should be balanced enough that that feed is moving quickly enough through and processing through the cow that those little bits of net wrap that they would get in their rumen will go ahead and pass on through their system, and they'll be able to excrete that. And we have not had any troubles, knock on wood, we haven't had any troubles since the year that we did feed bean stubble. And hopefully our nutritionist, and with the work that we've done, will keep our calves and cows both on track, and we won't have any digestive issues. And so at this point, that's kind of how we take care of net wrap on the place. If I see a piece of net wrap in the hay pile or in the bunk or whatever, we're diligent to pick that up. Sometimes I'll find balls of net wrap, like a cow has maybe got a couple of pieces from the bunk, and she'll like waller it around in her mouth, and then they spit it out. And older cows are better about doing that. They will kind of go, ooh, I don't think that's what I should be eating, and they'll spit it out. And so I'll find those on the ground, so I make sure I pick those up out of the pasture and the lots. Calves are curious, they're like little treasure hunters, and they'll find those little pieces of net wrap balls, and they'll try to ingest them. And at least once a year I have to rope a calf and get him caught, because he'll have a piece hanging out of his mouth that he hasn't swallowed yet, and hopefully we can get them caught before they swallow it. Let me know what you guys do with your net wrap, because it seems to be a toss-up. About 80% to 90% of producers seem to be removing net wrap prior to processing or grinding, if they can, unless there's an instance kind of like ours where it's just not economical at this point. I'd be interested to know how other people are dealing with this, because I know we don't have all of the answers, and sometimes somebody else's comment or idea is something we're trying, and it may work better in our system than what we're currently doing now. Here is the new ground hay pile. That is going to wrap up grinding for today, and I thank you for tagging along with us. Leave us a comment if you'd like to, and we'll just see you again soon.